Hi guys, well today we're going to be taking a look at the ASUS STRIX GTX 980Ti DC3 OC. So it's been a really busy past few months in the graphics card industry, loads of releases. Nvidia launched the GTX 980Ti at the end of May, which was great for those of us who are wanting to bridge that gap between the 980 and Titan X. And vanilla reference GTX 980Ti's are great, right? But custom cooled, overclocked are even better. And this is where our card comes in today. ASUS are using the launch of this new STRIX card to unveil their DirectCU free cooler. This cooler takes advantage of a triple fan configuration and gigantic heat pipes to offer a blend of great thermals and low noise. Now in terms of the pricing for this card, it can be picked up for £640 in the UK, $850 if you're over in the States, so this is perhaps at the upper end of the non-reference 980Ti region, but hopefully by the end of the video we'll be able to establish if this was a good buy or not. Alright guys, well let's start off with an unboxing of this card. So as you can see, this is from the STRIX gaming line, so we've got that owl theme there printed on the packaging, and then we've got this emphasis really on that DC3 cooler, of course, 30% cooler, better thermal performance, and also 0 decibel gaming. So that means that basically if the GPU doesn't hit 65 degrees, if it remains under that 65, then the cooling fans will stop spinning. So if we just flip this over, as it's pretty much standard stuff this. Over on the back we've got the fundamental features here, of course a bit more detail on that cooler. We've got these specifications, and we've also got Auto Extreme and the GPU Tweak too. So that's the software suite with this card. Obviously you can modify certain things on it, and then also we've got the XSplit Gamecaster, so we've got a subscription to that as well. Okay, and inside that packaging we have this nice box. Opening that up, this packet here contains all the accessories. Just opening that up, we have a dual 6-pin to 8-pin for the PCI Express, installation guide. We have the driver CD with the software, and we have this STRIX portfolio here, just detailing a bit more of the product line, giving you a bit of an idea of what they do. And then we've got the sticker where you can obviously place that on your case or wherever you choose. So just getting this out of the way, we have some foam padding here, and then we've got some additional foam padding around that graphics card, and the card there is inside that anti-static bag. So here we have the DC3 OC, and immediately you can see how immense this card is. That DirectCU free cooler is obviously the biggest talking point about this card, and it's one of those things which is going to make heads turn. The styling and the overall appearance is stunning. I'm going to go into a bit more detail on that DC3 cooler when we detach it from the card later on. But you can clearly see the config uses a triple fan setup and enormous heat pipes. And so right next to that card I've got the 7970 for a bit of a size comparison, and then side by side there you can see the true magnitude of that DC3 OC in whichever aspect you view it from. And speaking of the measurements of the card, in terms of the length, thankfully the ruler is just long enough. You're looking at 12 inches or 305 millimeters, and for the height 1.5 inches or 40 millimeters, and for the width is almost 5.5 inches or 135 millimeters. So yes, this is a gigantic card, so please check and make sure that your case will accommodate it. Now this card is dual slot, so you're going to need 2 spaces available on your motherboard and your computer case. And looking at that backplate on the card, we have a selection of different ports available. So first of all, we've got that dual link DVI-I. That's going to give you 3K at 60 Hz, and then HDMI 2 port. That's going to give you 4K at 60 Hz. And then we've got a trio of DisplayPort 1.2s, which will give you up to 4K at 60 Hz. So plenty of choice there if you're going to be going for a multi-screen setup. But if you plan to use a single screen, then it's really best to use that HDMI 2 port or one of the display ports to get the best refresh rate. Now the spec of this card has been given a factory overclock, so this basically takes the reference settings of a GTX 980Ti and it increases the rendering config considerably. So for the core clock we get an extra 22%, and that sits at 1216 MHz, and then it boosts up to 1317 MHz. And for the memory clock we get an extra 2%, so that's 1800 MHz, 7200 effective. So that's pretty good really when you think about it, and we even managed to squeeze a bit more out of the card when we overclocked it in the full review, cranking that memory clock up to 2000 MHz. Now for the memory size, we get 6 gig of GDDR5, so the intention of this card is really to use it for ultra high resolutions. And some other things just to note is that this card is ready for DirectX 12, so when Windows 10 launches in about a week's time, those two things will work hand in hand, and this card also uses PCI Express 3.0. Now in terms of the power requirements for the card, we've got 8+8 pin for the PCI Express. The reference design for the GTX 980 had 6+8, and Nvidia suggested a 650 watt power supply for that reference design. So again, it's advisable really to use as a minimum a 650 watt power supply. Now ASUS has also placed LED indicators by these ports to confirm whether the cable is connected to the port properly. So when the LED is red, it isn't connected, but when they glow white, this means that everything is good. And just behind these ports we have the STRIX logo, which pulsates when the card is powered up, and we also have multi-SLI ports to pair this up with more than one card. So the biggest talking point about this card is surely that highly anticipated DirectCU3 cooler. Now for those of you who don't know, DirectCU has been a fixture for ASUS's high-end graphics cards for a number of years now, and if you want a bit more info on this, please head over to the full review in the description, as we're only going to cover certain points just briefly in this video. So this is a major upgrade to the DirectCU lineup, and it features a trio of 90mm cooling fans. Now these fans use the wing blade design, and they're going to stop spinning if the GPU remains under the 65 degrees threshold. So you can experience complete silence if your game doesn't push that GPU over 65 degrees. But even with the fan spinning, we're only going to hit 40% anyway, so it's pretty quiet. But you might ask the question, why don't they max out and use the full 100%? Well, STRIX cards are designed really to hit the balance between low noise and performance. So that 40% there is the sweet spot. Now turning the card over onto its back, there is a large metal plate to protect the PCB and to prevent it from flexing. And we also got a GPU fortifier on the back of the chip there, that's that red plate. And again, this helps to give it extra strength. Now on this side you also see that there is some super alloy 2 caps, which ASUS has used there to maximise overclocking headroom and to optimise performance. And there are more of these underneath the cooler on the other side. Okay, so I've detached the DC3 cooler. All you need to do is remove all the screws and the cooler lifts off. Now doing this, by the way, will void your warranty, so do it at your own risk. Now you can see there that we've got this heatsink design. Those heat pipes there are bidirectional, and they'll sit directly over the GPU and they'll transfer the heat. Now there is a thin strip there of thermal padding to cover the VRMs. Now these heat pipes are sintered and grooved, and DC3 is the first GPU cooler to utilise a burly 10mm heat pipe design. I'm sure you're aware this will greatly increase the rated TDP and be able to handle that toasty GTX 980Ti, which has got that overclock applied. So combining the heatsink, the heat pipes and those cooling fans, we have a pretty special cooling solution. So with that DC3 cooler detached, we can have a quick look at the actual card itself, and you can see there just how big that PCB really is. ASUS has extended the height of the board to accommodate the DC3 cooler and also to house that huge lineup of phases which span from the top to the bottom there. That's a 12+2 phase Super Alloy 2 design, and we also have throughout the board Super Alloy 2 caps and chokes, and the end result is that we're going to get better temperatures, longer life and less noise. Now something else to note is ASUS Auto Extreme. So the construction of this card has been fulfilled completely by machine. So stringent quality control techniques are enforced, and everything is placed onto that board with absolute precision, taking out any room for human error. Now at the heart of our card is the GM200 GPU. So this is the same processor that sits on the GTX Titan X, but we've got some shader units disabled. So with that overview complete now, we're going to take a look at how this card really performs. Right guys, well the cooler is back on the card and we've got it installed on a test bench because I want to show you what the temperatures are like, what the noise is like, and do a quick benchmark of a game at 4K resolution. So we've currently got the card idling in Windows 8.1. You can see there that the cooling fans are not spinning since we haven't hit that 65 degree mark. So as I said earlier, if this card isn't loaded, then this will happen in order to reduce the noise in your PC. Now we've got GPU-Z recording the temperatures, and to get those fans spinning and to see how the card responds for gaming, let's load up Thief, and we'll also leave GPU-Z running, and we'll just select the the maximum reading because we want to see what the maximum temperature is to see how hot that GPU gets with DC3 attached. So if I just go into Thief and just make sure that we're running full screen and that we've also got the 4K resolution and VSync is off, and let's crank it up right up to very high and go for it. And if we select benchmark, so you can see there that the fans haven't even kicked in yet because we haven't hit 65 degrees. And just as I said that, they've actually started spinning. So, but you know, we're running there at 40% and they aren't noisy by any means. But I'll just get my microphone close to those. Okay, so there is the result, and obviously this is 4K resolution, you know, completely maxed out on the detail, average there of around sort of just under 45, so you know, pretty decent, really fluid as you could see from that, that demo there. If I just come out of this and we can have a look at the temperatures, if I just close that off, and there you can see it hit 77 for the maximum temperature. So not the lowest, but DC3 tries to, you know, strike a balance between good temperatures and low noise. Right guys, well that pretty much concludes our video today. Hopefully this has given you a bit of a taste, a bit of an overview of this new STRIX card. You know, but from a styling, a performance, a noise standpoint, this is without doubt an excellent card to pick up. It edges towards and it almost gives you that slice of the Titan X. But looking at it compared to the R9 Fury X, that newly released card from AMD, they really aren't in the same league at all. This card cuts through games like a knife through butter. And ASUS has done an excellent job with that DC3 cooler. You know, it performs and operates just as intended. The only thing that I would say to you guys, if you're thinking about buying this, is check your case dimensions, because this card is colossal in size and you may struggle to fit it. So as always guys, the full review with a massive lineup of benchmarks is on the screen and also in the description. Please let me know also what you guys think of this card. Is it something that you would pick up? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Please let me know in the comments below. So thanks for watching today guys. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. It'd be great to have you on board, and I'll see you guys in the next video.